Let's ride.
President Trump has agreed to the release of the search warrant of his Mar-a-Lago home, as we're learning a lot more about what the Justice Department was looking for. Our chief Washington correspondent, John Carl, tracking it all. Good morning, John.
Good morning, George. Trump's decision not to challenge the release of that search warrant and related documents came just hours before a deadline set by a federal judge, and it means we may soon learn more about what those federal agents were looking for. Just hours after the Justice Department filed for the Mar-a-Lago search warrant to be unsealed, Trump announced he would not oppose the release. The former president issuing a statement saying he was, quote, encouraging the immediate release of those documents, although his lawyers already have them and could have already.
Well, you got me. By all accounts, it doesn't make sense.
If there were nuclear documents in that, is that justified, the FBI going to get it? And also you say that Donald Trump has more classified information in his head. The Mar-a-Lago is also a public club, so should those documents be in that space written down for perhaps people to access?
So this is a great question. I'm glad that you asked it. So I have served on the Strategic Forces Subcommittee in the Armed Services Committee for 20 years, including being its chair and ranking member. It depends on what the nuclear information is. You can say nuclear weapons, but there are things that are highly, highly classified. There's things that are not extremely classified, but are nonetheless classified. The other aspect with respect to access is we don't know what those documents are. I mean, I'm asking the same question you are. Attorney General Garland, Director Wray, if these things rise to the level of national security threats, to which there's an immediate need to enter the residence of a former president, perhaps future candidate of president, the person who is, has run against Garland's boss, that should have a higher level of scrutiny, right? But just tell us. I'm asking the same questions you are, and if there are rational answers for it, then he needs to come to this committee, disclose what the classified information is, disclose what the national security threat is, so that we know.
Eventually.
Ahead of that, let's talk with Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan.
So totally never happened in American history, but you have to view it in context. Remember, this is the same Justice Department that a year ago said we're going to treat parents as domestic terrorists. We know that happened because we've had now over a dozen whistleblowers come to our office and talk about all the political things going on at the Justice Department. Then that's followed up by a vote today that's going to happen on the House floor where the Democrats want to unleash thousands and thousands of IRS agents, lowest learners, to go harass taxpayers. And then, of course, we had what happened at the president's home just this past Monday night, which should never happen in this great country. And when you couple that with the fact that they were working with him, he was cooperating with them on the stuff President Trump went out and talked to the agents when they were there a few months ago, for goodness sake. This makes absolutely no sense. And as we called for early in the week, Merrick Garland and Chris Wray should be in front of the House Judiciary Committee today. After all, we're in town. Why not come talk to us and answer the questions that the American people have about this unprecedented event that took place on Monday night?
Well, there are years, 5 years we've been.
15 minutes later.
The U.S. Attorney General approved the FBI raids on Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate, and he's made a submission to the courts in Florida to release details of the warrant. Joining us live now from Washington, D.C. is CNN reporter Stephen Collins. And Stephen, can you take us through what the Attorney General said this morning and what it means?
Yeah, the most interesting development is that the Attorney General Merrick Garland has asked for the search warrant that was given to the FBI before they showed up at Donald Trump's property to be unsealed. That could also come with a list of the property that was taken away from Trump's resort. What this could tell us is exactly what the FBI officials were looking for when they carried out that search on Monday, and it could give us some indication into what they took away, although obviously this being in the realm of classified information, what exactly they got might be a little bit difficult for us to find out. But what Garland is effectively doing is calling Trump's bluff. The former president now has to decide whether he's going to fight this in court. Search warrants are basically kept sealed to protect the privacy of the person they are targeting in case it turns out that they didn't commit a criminal offense. Now, if Trump argues that this should stay secret, that it shouldn't be unsealed, that goes against the fact that it was he himself that told the American people that this search was carried out. So it's a very interesting political move by Garland, and it follows an absolute tsunami of conspiracy theories and attacks by Republicans on the Justice Department on the basis, basically, that this was a politicized raid and it was more political